Welcome back to another edition of Sea Devil Sessions, University Transfer Edition. I am your host, Lucinda McNamara, Dean of University Transfer and Partnerships. And back by popular demand is Tim Vandenberg. Tim, you're in the studio.
I'm in here, not dropping down beats, because we've got a great program that does that. But if I tried to attempt to do it,
nice.
I don't know what it would sound like.
I kind of honestly didn't want to mislead the listener by saying back by popular demand.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a bait and switch.
No, but people were excited to hear your voice. And I will say after, what was it, episode 2 with Sandra, pumpkin beer, just the sales skyrocketed here in Wilmington, and brown sugar was just flying off the shelves.
Well, and let me tell you, I went into the giant Harris Teeter there on Independence the other day.
Neat.
Yeah, neat. Let's say we could give a free scholarship for every time I use the word neat in this episode. And I'll tell you what, they drew a hard line after Halloween because there was like only one pumpkin beer anywhere in their giant beer selection.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought, hey, look, it's the fall, people. And they said no. I mean, they might as well have just moved Santa Claus.
Thanksgiving is coming.
It's still fall. But no, me and my manly pumpkin beer had to part ways.
This is a travesty, really.
It is. Well, we're working on these things.
I don't mean to push this into the drinking area, but, then what would be our winter beverage? Cocoa.
Yes.
Hot cocoa.
Well, if you want to keep on that same vein, we do have a wine tasting class. So it is actually appropriate.
This is good.
Right?
This is academic.
Our own beloved Jason Rogers over there at Marine Tech, he actually is in the wine tasting class.
Yes.
So there you go. I mean, we got it all here. I think we even have a brewing class through Continuing Ed, I believe, right?
I think we might.
So look at that.
Well, we are moving into fall, towards the end of it, actually. As we go into this next few weeks, students won't even be here for basically like a week.
That's crazy. You know what it isn't?
What?
Neat.
That's right. It's not neat. It's sad and lonely.
It's sad.
Sad and lonely here in the halls.
The halls will be empty.
They will be. Today's Faculty Spotlight guest is Miss Rachel Satzman. She works in the Social Science Department. And if you haven't caught on yet, listener, we've been going through every department in the University Transfer Division, highlighting faculty members, showcasing all the amazing talent that we have here at the college.
Pretty amazing broad spectrum of things here at College Transfer. You could be down there doing some chemistry. You could be on the stage doing theater, sciences. I mean, you play a violin. I just found out recently that Robin Hardin, English instructor and now associate dean, I believe is the new title, played violin for several years and then just stopped. And her husband just bought her a new one for birthday. And turns out she's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
You just never know what you're going to find out during these podcasts about these instructors.
100%. Let's go, Rachel. Well, listener, today we have a very interesting guest. We have a representative from the Social Science Department who has worked here at the college for 19 years, Ms. Rachel Satzman.
Yay.
Satzman.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So speak a little bit more so my question that I'm about to ask you makes a little bit of sense.
Sure.
Is Satzman the correct way to say your name?
Satzman. If you want to be very official.
Right. No, this is good.
And then strangely enough, in all other aspects of my life, I actually go by my married name, which is Larson. So I've kind of a split personality.
Satzman Larson.
Satzman here at school, but in everything else, I'm a Larson.
Okay.
I'm Batman.
Which brings you to my question, actually. Do I hear New York in there?
Definitely. Born and raised in New York.
What part?
Long Island.
Oh.
Then out to Colorado for undergrad, and then back to New York for grad school.
So how did you end up in Wilmington, North Carolina, of all places?
After 9/11, I was one of those people living in the city, walking over the bridge on that day, hoping to find my family who lived on Long Island.
Right.
And for me, that was just it. I knew that my time in Manhattan was done. I was like, I don't want to live in the city anymore. And then I came here on one vacation, saw that there was this beautiful beach and beautiful downtown with this happening film and cultural scene, and I was sold.
Well, I feel like that a lot of New York people are moving down here post-COVID.
Totally. Yes, absolutely.
The Great Migration.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're from New York because, like, when I think of you, all I envision you is doing yoga on a paddleboard in the middle of the intercoastal, right? Like, so I don't get it. Like, I've never had a New York vibe about you, right?
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
you're one of the first people I remember seeing. I was like, what is she doing? And I was like, she's doing yoga on a paddleboard.
Paddleboard.
I am very into yoga. It is like a big thing for me. It is, I mean, for 20 years, I've been teaching yoga. Other than working and teaching anthropology, it is like my favorite life passion, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I've seen you. You teach out on the pier, on Crystal
Out
Pier
on the
sometimes.
pier, yeah. Those
yeah.
classes are huge. There's like 40 plus people in those classes, and they're so much fun during the summer. It's great.
Any kind of crossover between teaching here and that as far as just instruction that you say, oh, it translates across?
It definitely translates across. So I have an intrinsic knowledge of anatomy and physiology, which is a requirement to teach anthropology, but then that's also absolutely going to be a requirement to teach yoga. And then, of course, when you deep dive into yoga, there's like this whole cultural aspect. So yes, they're very much related for me. I make them related in my mind.
Dang, Tim, that was a really great question.
Hey, look, I'm just here for the fellowshipping and the wonderful questions.
Well, that was right on. And it takes us to, can you define anthropology for us? Because I think a lot of students see it, they hear it, they think they know what it is, but they really don't know everything about it.
Absolutely. Anthropology is the holistic study of humans from their evolutionary origins all the way up to modern day adaptations. When we look at anthropology, I guess what differentiates it from every single other discipline is that it's half social science and half biological science. So if you take general anthropology, you're going to get all human evolution. If you take archaeology, you're going to have a deep basis in science. And then if you take cultural anthropology, that deals with humanity, looking at it from a cultural perspective.
Wow.
So what drew you to that? What about anthropology did you find fascinating?
Well, when I grew up, I lived in a house where there were all those yellow Nat Geos sitting in the library. And we were also not really allowed to watch TV. And it was before cable. And the only channel we had was PBS.
Yes.
And so,
Same.
And so I just like completely deep dived into these Nat Geos and just became fascinated with diversity of humanity all around the world. And that's definitely what did it. Then on a really superficial level, when I got into college, it became this opportunity. It was like study anthropology and you can travel the world. So then it became a little superficial at that point because I was like, yes, I want to travel. And then now it's really just about teaching students about themselves, because anthropology is about like the human legacy. It's like your story, you know?
Well, what have you noticed in the kind of range of these years of teaching is different about teaching students? What have you kind of observed over the long spectrum there?
There's some positives. Students are absolutely better at technology now. Students want to be more hands-on. In my opinion, the concept of that lecture, that like 2.5-hour lecture, that's dead. That is not a thing. So there's just much more hands-on learning. But I also see a lot of social anxiety, a lot of fear of interacting with other students. I see a lot more financial pressure on these students. I know many of my students are working like 2 or 3 jobs and going to school, and that's so much pressure. And then the last thing is that they are very phone obsessed. And I can see students really trying to pay attention, and then I see them like get sucked into their phone. So it's like this internal battle of trying to pay attention and then like this distraction of that phone. And so in many ways, instead of like using technology as a tool, I see a lot of slave to the technology.
Right. And then also it's funny that you're talking about how they have a lot of anxiety, they don't know how to interact in the classroom. I mean, we hear this all the time. Is it tied back to their reliance on technology and these phones?
In my opinion, definitely.
Yeah,
And I think also the students that we're seeing now, COVID had a really big impact on them.
it did.
And I don't know how positive that was for them.
Right. And it's been a challenge to get everyone back on campus.
Mm-hmm.
But of the students that I've talked to and that other instructors have told me, even though there was that hesitance, now that they're back, they're so thankful for it. And they're actually doing better.
I agree. I noticed students really looking for places to join and fit in and be a member of a community. And I try to offer that with Anthropology Club. I really try to give them a safe place where they can be free to express themselves in any way, but also have that sense of community, because I think that really is lacking.
Right. No, and thank you so much for offering that, Anthropology Club. We appreciate that. I do think that you're absolutely right. They're looking for connection.
Mm-hmm.
And, the fact that we are offering all these different student-led clubs with faculty advisors, we're, renovating the LRC area to be more student-centered. I think that's going to be, really positive.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rachel,
Yes.
are you ready for our rapid fire questionnaire?
I am as ready as I can.
You're
be.
in the hot seat.
All
So
right,
here you
let's
go.
do it.
All right.
Talk about pressure.
Exactly.
I'm feeling it.
What is your most favorite thing about your job?
The students. I learned so much from them. They are so creative and they're really redefining what it means to be a young person and what it means to be an American.
Awesome.
What is your least favorite thing about your job?
Any obligation that I have outside of my students. So anything that takes me away from serving my students and being with them is going to be the least favorite part of my job.
Sounds a little bit like Dr. Rocks when he was like
Right.
paperwork.
TPS
There's
reports.
a lot TPS reports, definitely.
Yes.
There's a lot of that.
What sound or noise do you love?
The ocean.
Yes.
We're so lucky. We live in really a paradise. And I am very grateful for where I live every day.
So no regrets about leaving New York.
Definitely not.
What sound or noise do you hate?
People complaining.
Yes.
Not a thing for me. Because if you're complaining, then you need to do something about it. Don't just complain.
Right. Solution driven.
Do something.
Right. Complaints. What one piece of advice do you have for your college students?
I really thought about this one, and this one is really from my heart. I would tell my students to not let anyone limit their future. When people discourage you from making choices about your future, they're speaking from their own limitations.
Right.
So don't inherit someone else's limiting beliefs. Define your own success. My recipe for that is find what you love, what your passion is, find what the world needs, find what you're good at, and then find what you can get paid for. And put those things together and let that be the definition of success for you, whatever that looks like.
You articulated that so well.
I'm inspired.
And I wish that I'd heard that, at 18.
What are the 2 college transfer major options for someone interested in anthropology?
There are so many options for anyone interested in anthropology. So I'll hit like the very popular ones. So one is forensic anthropology, and that's going to be crime lab work. You can enter the crime lab through the criminal justice side of it, but you're going to be earning a lot less than someone who enters from the forensic anthropological side of it.
Wow, good.
So
good
if
point.
you go get your degree in forensics, there's going to be a really good chance that you're one of those top earners working in crime lab situations. Another really recent development in anthropology is corporate anthropology, where anthropologists are hired to study corporations as a culture and to kind of create happy, successful employees to bring culture together. So that's a really big opportunity. And then, of course, that's private sector. So that means that there's a lot of money in that. And then the last one is really important because it's for people that are like, you know what, all that sounds great, but I don't want to go on to graduate school. And for those people, I would say archaeology, because if you get a 4-year degree in archaeology, you are employable. With that new infrastructure bill that was passed, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, there is a demand for archaeologists because anything that's going to be built has to have what's called a cultural impact statement. So they have to have an ecological impact statement. But what an archaeologist does is they go out there to make sure that we're not putting a bridge on top of Native American burials.
Right.
And that is 4 years and you are in the field working.
Right. Those are great. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? And it sounds like you have a couple already.
Yeah, I know. For me, I know that the next version of myself, I will be an entrepreneur. I just really love owning my own business. I love babying it and like developing it. So for me, I think my next profession would be owning a yoga studio with like a natural fiber clothing aspect to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hot yoga. I tried that once.
How'd
It's
that go
really
for you?
hot.
You know, I've never felt so good that when they go to open the door at like 15 minutes to kind of give you a break and that air rushes in.
Yep.
Yeah, hot yoga, not for me.
So I'm a hot yogi 2 days a week, and then I cold plunge afterwards. My husband thinks I'm totally insane. He's like, what?
Well, what profession would you not like to attempt?
Anything that involves sitting in front of a computer all day. I am not that person. I like to be up and out and talking to people. I just don't like that. There would be no meaning for me. I would have no passion in that. Even if I was doing really important work on that computer, there just wouldn't be that sense of satisfaction and passion in what I did.
Yeah, that's a good answer. What is your favorite film?
This one's special. So I grew up watching The Sound of Music. My father was a professor of music at Stony Brook University. And he did productions of Sound of Music like every year. And so that movie like pulls on every heartstring that I have. So that's a very special movie for me.
All right.
Finally, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self about your future?
The advice that I would give my younger self would be, don't be scared, be motivated. Fear is a really powerful emotion. It has a lot of potency. And if you can figure out a way to use fear to push you from behind instead of holding you back, you will be able to move forward in your life in a really positive way. Even if you're scared, let that be your motivation and do it anyway.
That's beautiful. I love that. I think a lot of people need to hear that.
Yeah, embrace it.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people are scared.
Right.
And for me, it's like if it doesn't scare you, then you're just living in your safety zone.
Right. There's no growth there.
Right. Where's the growth?
Yeah.
And I think as we get older, we get really complacent and love that safety zone because it's real comfortable.
Yeah.
But if I'm not doing at least one thing that scares me a year, then I'm not. And I don't mean like
skydiving.
It's definitely not what I mean. I mean like really getting in touch with what you want your life to look like and then really boldly stepping out and stepping into that.
Yeah. It takes risks, I think.
Yep.
For big payoffs, and not just monetary payoffs, but like spiritual, character payoffs, those types of things.
Yeah. Everything hard ends up being worth it. And your hard things, your challenges, that's literally what defines you as a person.
And then another question, just for my own curiosity, because you're an international traveler, like where's the one place that you haven't been yet that you really want to go?
The Solomon Islands.
Okay.
Yeah. They're really remote and really hard to get to. But there is a large percentage of indigenous populations that live on those islands that are relatively unchanged since about 10,000 years ago. So there are some adaptations to modernity, but these are like tribal people who are still living in a way that is in harmony with their environment. And this is really important for me about anthropology. I believe that the answers for going forward with humanity lie in looking at indigenous wisdom. Like, these people have existed since time immemorial in symbiosis with their environment. And then if we look at what we've done in the last 500 years to our environment, we really need to search for answers, but those answers have already been found with indigenous tribal people who've been living like that for 10,000 years, 20,000 years. So I believe the answers are there. We just have to look to our indigenous ancestors and go back to go forward, if that makes any sense.
Makes all the sense in the world. Listener, I am going to encourage you as students, if you're tuning in, students, to definitely look into taking some anthropology classes in the social science department. And Rachel, we are so thankful that you came in here today to spend some time with us.
Thanks so much for this opportunity. It's really special to be able to talk about like what I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, it shows. And it's really neat to kind of hear all about it.
Thanks.
And we're going to count how many times Tim says neat on this podcast.
Well, hey, I know there's some dates and deadlines always lingering out there for university transfer, and we have resident drama instructor Jack Landry on board to fill you in.
Here's the academic calendar dates for November 15th through November 30th. It's really exciting. Monday, November 20th is the last day to withdraw and receive a W for the 12-week session. Tuesday, November 21st, fall break, no classes. The college is open. Wednesday, November 22nd, we're calling that Thanksgiving break, even though it's a day later. No classes, college is open. Thursday and Friday, November 23rd and 24th, it's Thanksgiving. There's no classes. The college is closed. Monday, November 27th, is the first day of winter session classes, and it's the last day to add and drop add a winter session class. Tuesday, November 28th, is the last day to drop a winter session class for a 75% refund. And finally, Wednesday, November 29th, withdrawal begins for winter session classes. I told you it was really exciting.
Once again, to fill us in on our upcoming academic and cultural events, we have CFCC Student Life Coordinator, our head women's basketball coach, and host of her own podcast for your ears only, the one and only Taylor Todd Williams. Great to have you back in the studio. Got a lot of things going on.
I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for having me. We have a short list of academic and cultural events the next couple of weeks due to the upcoming fall break and Thanksgiving holiday. Starting with Wednesday, November 15th, the University Transfer Team visit from UNCW will be on campus in the Union Station lobby from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Spanish Conversations Group, 1 to 2 p.m. in the Nixon Leader Center. Mini Madness, the CFCC Beats Lab concert, is at 7:30 p.m. in the Wilson Center, free to attend. Thursday, November 16th, CFCC Art Faculty Exhibition, Artist Talk, will be from 12 to 1 p.m. in the Wilma W. Daniels Gallery. PTK International College Honor Society, monthly member merge from 3:15 to 4:15 p.m. in L110. John Proctor is the Villain by Kimberly Bellflower, 7 p.m. in the Studio Theater, Friday and Saturday too. Tickets will be available via wilsoncentertickets.com. November 21st through November 24th, there will be no classes. Please enjoy your fall break. Tell us what you're thankful for. Monday, November 27th, CFCC Jazz Ensemble will be at 7 p.m. in the Wilson Center. Tuesday, November 28th, the CFCC Orchestra and Guitar Concert will be at 7 p.m. in the Wilson Center. Wednesday, November 29th, college and career info session for Spanish-speaking families will be 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Place to be determined.
You know, that is a whole lot of good stuff considering that we're pretty much gone for 1 week for Thanksgiving, but I'm really excited about Mini Madness. Weren't they providing all the music at the Fall Festival?
They were, man. Shout out to the CFCC Beats Lab Club. They provided great music at the Falling for Fun. I encourage all of our students to attend.
Awesome. Thank you, Taylor.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving.
Listener, thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Sea Devil Sessions University Transfer. When this podcast airs, it's going to be near the Thanksgiving holiday. Tim, what are your Thanksgiving plans?
Well, we have a new puppy.
What?
Yeah.
What kind?
I have a mini Australian Labradoodle now.
Oh my God.
Yes.
This
Hold your
goes
laughter.
right into the bouginess that we were talking about last time.
Listen.
Okay.
I never thought I'd utter the word doodle in my life.
Yeah.
And I am now that
Doodle.
guy. I have a doodle.
Mm-hmm. You're
Well,
a doodle dude.
We have family we visit for Thanksgiving, and some of them are dog friendly, and some of them are not dog friendly.
This will be fun.
So there's some household strategery going on, trying to figure out where to go and what time to go, where we will not be putting anybody out
with the puppy.
With the puppy.
And the puppy poo.
The scourge of Lily. That's her name, by the way.
Are there any Thanksgiving favorites that you have to eat?
Ooh, I love green bean casserole.
Oh.
That's pretty good.
With the fried onions, like old style?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then anything with the yams.
Oh,
like a good yam.
Yeah, good yam. Good yam's always nice.
What about you?
Well, my mother-in-law is coming into town.
Did you ask her if she could stay longer?
No. Actually, we asked her if she could stay shorter. Nope. I love her. And just so you know, I am a vegetarian. So I'm going to say, save a turkey, eat tofurkey, which doesn't go over very well.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
No, it is, Tim. Thank you.
If you could serve that with a side of cardboard and maybe some of that, material they put in packing.
I don't know. My mother-in-law might actually drive me to eat the meat. Who knows? The tofurkey's not bad. I don't know why it's getting a bad rap.
I like it.
Our sound engineer had a ringing endorsement for the tofurkey.
Mitchell White loves tofurkey, just saying.
Just getting it out there, people. Putting it out there.
Well, listener, we have made it through another episode of this podcast, and we hope to have the next one drop on December the 1st.
Is there an age limit to where we can't use the word drop anymore?
Yeah, it's the same age limit for neat. Okay?
Fair enough.
I do think we need to bring in a list of words. A list of appropriate sayings that the young generation will understand.
Oh, right. That's it's really sad. I was about to use one that's like outdated. I was going to say something about fleek, and that's like 5, 6 years old.
That is embarrassing by this.
You have a teenage daughter though, so you're probably a little bit more.
Are you
up on it?
I stopped listening. I think the last one was Slay, and I think that's old now. So
it's so cringe.
But we just so slayed this podcast.
Well, we slayed it. Well, once again, what do we always say? Go to class.
Sea Devil Sessions University Transfer Edition is brought to you by CFCC's Community Relations Department. Original theme music by Nicholas Montalbano and Fermin Chavez Ramos. Audio engineering by Mitchell White and Tim Vandenberg. For questions or comments, please contact us at seadevilsessions@cfcc.edu.